Elara's breath caught as Kaelen's tear-streaked face blurred through the storm of light. His voice raw as he said, "You cannot follow me." Malric's grip tightened on his arm, dragging him into the shadows. The mirror before her pulsed with violent energy, its surface shattering with a scream of magic that tore through the hall. Elara reached forward, her fingers trembling, yet the shard cut deep into her palm. Pain surged, but her heart ached more at Kaelen's fading silhouette. She whispered, "Don't leave me," though the storm swallowed her voice. Stone cracked, dust rained down, and her world fractured in the same instant the mirror exploded. For a fleeting second, the glass showed a stranger's face, a man with eyes full of sorrow and betrayal, before vanishing into nothingness. Dust lingered as silence fell, broken only by the crackle of fading magic. Elara knelt among the shards, blood trailing down her wrist. She whispered, "Kaelen, where are you?" But only echoes answered. The hall smelled of wet stone and ash, the storm still raging beyond broken walls. Her eyes found a shard still glowing, the faint image of Darius fading with sorrowful eyes. Fear wrapped around her ribs like iron, yet curiosity pushed her hand closer. Seraphine's voice echoed faintly in memory, warning of reflection's curse. Elara pressed her palm against the fragment, trembling as the shard pulsed warmly like a heartbeat. She whispered, "Show me why," before shadows swallowed the glow. Seraphine appeared at the archway, her cloak heavy with rain, silver hair clinging to her lined face. She said, "You touched what should never be touched." Elara's eyes filled with stubborn fire as she rose. "It showed me him," she whispered. Seraphine's gaze darkened with centuries of regret, her hand clutching a staff carved with runes. "The mirror feeds on desire. What you saw is not a gift but a trap." Elara pressed her palm to her chest, heart pounding with defiance. It was more than illusion. The hall trembled faintly, mirror shards humming as though alive. Seraphine's lips thinned. "If you listen, it will take everything you love." Kaelen emerged from the shadows beyond the hall, armor cracked, eyes storm gray but distant. Elara rushed forward only to stop as he raised a trembling hand. "Stay," he rasped. His jaw clenched with restraint, shoulders rigid beneath soaked leather. "I swore to protect you, but I can't be near." Elara's voice broke. "Why do you push me away?" His gaze flickered with pain, yet he said, "Because wanting you will destroy us both." The words cut deeper than the shard's wound, yet she stepped closer, her voice barely a whisper. "You already have my heart." He turned his head sharply, rain dripping from his lashes, silence heavier than stone. Alone again, Elara approached the largest mirror shard still clinging to its frame. Its cracked surface glowed faintly, a heartbeat within glass. She whispered, "Who are you?" And Darius appeared, sorrow shadowing his golden hair. His lips formed words she couldn't hear, yet his eyes pierced her soul. She reached toward him, breath trembling, but the shard vibrated violently. The reflection shifted, showing Darius holding a woman's hand, betrayal burning in his eyes. Elara gasped, pulling back as blood seeped again from her palm. "What are you trying to show me?" The shard flickered once more before going dark, leaving her reflection fractured and alone. Elara sat alone in the ruined hall, the storm outside reduced to a soft drizzle. Her hand hovered over the glowing shard as if it breathed with her. She whispered, "If you carry his face, then tell me why." The surface rippled like water, pulling her closer. She gasped as it revealed Darius reaching through the glass, his blue eyes filled with grief. Her pulse raced, torn between fear and aching desire. "You should not be real," she said, her voice breaking. The shard vibrated and pulled her into its glow, showing fragments of another world. The vision left her shaken but unwilling to look away. She whispered, "I need answers." The shard flared brighter, and the reflection solidified into Darius, standing in a golden field beneath a crimson sky. He extended his hand as though he could cross worlds. "You see me," his lips shaped soundlessly. Elara's heart thudded painfully. She whispered, "Who are you?" The reflection rippled, forming his answer. A mistake chained to eternity. Her breath caught as the warmth of his presence seeped through the cold glass. "Why me?" she asked, trembling. His sorrowful eyes softened, and he mouthed, "Because you are the key." The shard cracked further, sending sparks of light across the floor. Fear mingled with yearning as she leaned closer. Kaelen entered suddenly, his armor clattering softly in the silence. His storm-gray eyes hardened when he saw Elara kneeling before the glowing shard. "You are letting it touch you," he said coldly. She turned, startled, her cheeks pale with guilt. "It showed me someone," she whispered. Kaelen's jaw tightened, his scar glinting under flickering torchlight. "The mirror does not show truth, it shows what you wish to believe." Elara's lips trembled, but defiance sparked in her eyes. "Then why does it feel real?" His expression flickered with pain, though his voice stayed harsh. "Because that is how it traps you." She clutched her chest, torn between belief and fear. Seraphine entered, her staff glowing faintly as she stepped between them. "The mirror feeds on longing," she said, her voice firm yet weary. Elara turned sharply. "Then tell me why it showed me his eyes." Seraphine's shoulders sagged as though centuries pressed on her. "Because you carry the same hunger he carried once." Elara's throat tightened, and she whispered, "Darius?" Seraphine nodded slowly. "The fallen hero bound himself to its curse." Kaelen's face darkened, his voice low with warning. "Do not say his name." Elara clenched her fist, blood seeping fresh. "If he is bound to it, then I must know why." Her eyes burned with unshaken resolve. Elara remained alone as the others departed, her heart still pounding. The shard pulsed with light, whispering faintly like a heartbeat. She pressed her palm closer despite the sting of reopening wounds. "Show me the truth," she murmured. The reflection flared, Darius's face clear once more. His expression softened, lips shaping words she almost heard. "You are not just her," he said faintly. Elara gasped as visions of another woman's hand, entwined with his, flickered within the glass. The reflection fractured, splitting into two timelines overlapping. Elara cried out, "What am I to you?" The shard cracked violently, then dimmed, leaving her reflection staring back in silence. Elara wandered through the rain-slick courtyard, moonlight gleaming across broken stone. Kaelen followed close, his storm-gray eyes burning with unspoken fire. "You should stay away," he warned, voice low and frayed. She turned, her lips trembling with the words she dared not speak. "But I can't." He stepped closer, droplets sliding from his scarred jaw, his hand brushing hers before retreating. Desire surged like fire through the storm, and her heart pounded as if the mirror's curse thrummed inside her veins. She whispered, "Why fight it when it's already here?" His jaw clenched, his voice cracking with restraint. "Because wanting you is the most dangerous truth I know." Far beyond, Malric stood at a high balcony, his crimson robes whipping in the storm. His eyes glowed faintly as he whispered, "The bond grows." A shadow flickered at his side, the mirror shards spinning in his palm. He smirked coldly, "Love makes them weak." His gaze narrowed as he conjured visions of Elara's trembling heart and Kaelen's conflicted stare. "They will tear each other apart before the end," he muttered. Lightning slashed across the sky, casting his pale features in cruel light. He closed his fist, and the shards vanished into smoke. "Let them think love is salvation. It will be their ruin." Joran stumbled into the scene, soaked and panting, his brown curls plastered to his forehead. "You two are going to get killed," he gasped, clutching a satchel of stolen herbs. Elara turned sharply. "Why are you here?" His grin flickered despite the fear. "Because someone has to keep you alive." Kaelen's jaw tightened, irritation mixing with reluctant respect. "You're a fool." Joran straightened, wiping mud from his face. "Maybe, but I'd rather be a fool at your side than a corpse in the dark." Elara's lips curved faintly at his bravery, though her heart ached. For the first time, she saw his loyalty shine beyond jest. Kaelen's anger flared, but he stepped closer to Elara, lowering his voice. "I fear losing you more than death itself." Her chest tightened as she whispered, "Then stop running." His breath caught, the scar along his jaw stark in torchlight. His hand lifted, fingers grazing her cheek, trembling between restraint and surrender. The storm faded into silence as if holding its breath. Elara's eyes shimmered, heart racing, the world reduced to the space between them. "You are the only truth I want," she whispered. Kaelen's lips parted with anguish, but fear hardened his gaze. "And that truth will destroy us both." His voice cracked like broken glass. The mirror shard at Elara's side pulsed suddenly, casting a glow across their faces. It revealed Kaelen not as he stood now, but cloaked in blood and fire, a blade dripping with betrayal. Elara gasped, pulling away as the shard trembled violently. "What did you do?" she whispered, horror etched across her features. Kaelen froze, his eyes wide with guilt, unable to form words. The reflection showed him kneeling before Malric, hands stained crimson. Elara's heart fractured as the shard fell silent, leaving her breathless. Kaelen reached out, voice breaking. "It isn't what you think." But the wound in her trust cut deeper than steel. Elara's hand hovered over the shard as silver light spilled into the hall. The glow expanded until a figure stepped through, his presence heavy with sorrow. Darius emerged, golden hair damp, his blue eyes burning with regret. Elara staggered back, breath trembling. "You're real," she whispered. His lips curved with pain. "Once, I was more than shadow." His hand lifted, trembling as if torn between reaching for her and recoiling from guilt. Kaelen growled, his sword half drawn. "Stay away from her." Darius' gaze lingered on Elara, his voice low and fractured. "I have no wish to harm her, only to remember what I lost." The air thickened as Elara stared at Darius, her chest aching with unexplainable recognition. She whispered, "I saw you in the mirror." His lips curved faintly, sorrow shadowing every word. "You saw what remains of me." Her fingers trembled, reaching closer, but Kaelen seized her wrist. "Don't trust him," he warned sharply. Darius' gaze flickered to Kaelen, bitterness flashing like lightning. "You think yourself her savior, yet you cannot keep her from fate." Elara's voice cracked as she whispered, "Why do I feel as if I already know you?" Darius closed his eyes, pain evident. "Because love does not die, it lingers as curse." Malric's laughter echoed from the shadows, his crimson robe sweeping as he appeared at the broken archway. "How poetic," he sneered. The fallen hero begging for a second chance. Darius' jaw clenched, his shoulders rigid with rage. "You twisted me into this." Malric smirked, his glowing eyes narrowing. "No, you chose power when love was not enough." Elara's stomach tightened, horror rippling through her. Darius lowered his gaze, shame etched into every line of his face. "I was weak." Kaelen stepped forward, sword gleaming. "And you will not drag her down with you." Malric raised his hand, shod swirling with red light. Seraphine stepped into the hall, her staff glowing faintly blue, voice trembling with age and regret. "Enough, Malric," he sneered. "Ah, the teacher who hides truths." Elara turned sharply, hurt flashing in her eyes. "What truth?" Seraphine's face paled, her shoulders heavy with shame. Darius once stood where Kaelen stands now, bound to protect, bound to love, and he fell. Elara staggered back, her breath catching as betrayal and fate intertwined in her heart. Darius whispered, "I tried to fight, but I failed you." Seraphine's voice cracked as she said, "History repeats when hearts ignore the cost of desire." The mirror's surface flared violently, pulling Elara into a swirl of visions. She saw Darius kneeling beside a woman whose face mirrored her own, their love ending in betrayal and blood. Her chest heaved as the illusion wrapped around her. Darius' voice echoed, "I never wanted it to end." Elara gasped as her hand touched his spectral cheek, the warmth hauntingly familiar. Kaelen's shout broke through, desperate. Elara, it's not real. The vision tightened, pulling her deeper. The woman in the past screamed as Darius' blade fell, blood staining the glass. Elara ripped her hand away, crying out, "Why do you show me this?" The torchlight flickered low as a new figure entered, her steps soft and deliberate. Lyra emerged, shifting from a stranger's face into her own, her dark eyes glinting with sly amusement. Elara froze, her blood chilling. "Who are you?" Lyra smiled faintly, her form rippling before settling. "Someone who can be anyone." Kaelen's hand tightened on his sword, suspicion sharpening his tone. "A shapeshifter." Lyra's laughter was light, but her words were edged. "Names matter little. What matters is choice." She tilted her head toward Elara, lips curling. "Whose truth will you believe when every reflection lies?" Shadows twisted across the broken hall like serpents. Kaelen stepped forward, blade raised, his storm-gray eyes narrowing. "You will not play your games here." Lyra smirked, shadows sliding around her shoulders. "You think steel can pierce truth? Poor protector." Elara's breath caught as Lyra's form shifted into Kaelen's mirror image, scar and all. The sight stole her words, confusion trembling in her chest. "Stop this," she whispered. Lyra's false Kaelen stepped closer, voice soft and dangerous. "Why fight what you already fear? The man beside you has betrayed before, and he will betray again." Elara's knees weakened, the mirror's glow pulsing violently in rhythm with her doubt. The air thickened with tension as Kaelen advanced, fury burning in his eyes. "You dare use my face against her?" His blade slashed, but Lyra shifted back to her own form with a mocking smile. Joran stumbled forward, breathless. "She's stalling us," he gasped. Lyra's gaze flickered toward him, lips curving. "Ah, the fool who hides his courage beneath jest." Joran flushed, clutching his satchel. "I may be a fool, but I know lies when I hear them." Lyra's expression hardened briefly before returning to a sly smirk. "Bravery tastes sweetest when it belongs to those who never believed they had it." Elara felt the pull of the mirror growing stronger, its fragments vibrating across the floor. The glow illuminated her face as whispers curled around her ears. Darius' voice drifted through, heavy with sorrow. "Do not trust them." She pressed her palm against the shard, her chest aching. Kaelen shouted, "Let it go!" But the shard clung like it had roots in her blood. Lyra stepped closer, eyes dark with intent. "He calls to you because he knows you are his." Elara's heart stuttered, as images of Darius's hand, entwined with hers, flooded her vision. She gasped, torn between love and destiny's cruel chain. The mirror flared violently, chains of light coiling around Elara's arms, pulling her toward its fractured heart. She cried out, struggling, her blood streaking across the glass. Kaelen lunged, gripping her shoulders, his voice breaking. "I will not lose you." Lyra's laughter echoed cruelly, her form melting into shadow. "You cannot fight destiny." Joran ran forward, fumbling for herbs, desperate. "There has to be a way to break it." The shard pulsed, showing Kaelen kneeling in blood before Malric once more, the betrayal searing into Elara's mind. Her heart cracked under the weight of truth and illusion, her scream shaking the hall. Malric stepped from the shadows, crimson robes swirling as his voice cracked like thunder. "She is mine, bound by fate before she ever breathed." Elara gasped, chains of light still coiling around her wrists. Kaelen's fury surged as he raised his sword, eyes burning with defiance. "You will never claim her." Malric smirked, power crackling in his hand. "She was promised to me the moment her bloodline touched the mirror." Elara's chest heaved, horror striking deeper than pain. "I am not yours," she spat. Malric's laughter echoed cruelly. "You can deny destiny, but it never denies you." The shards pulsed, sealing his words with ominous truth. The battle erupted in chaos, lightning flashing across the shattered hall. Malric hurled a wave of crimson energy, striking Kaelen square in the chest. He staggered, armor scorched, blood trailing from his lips. Elara screamed, struggling against the chains that held her. Kaelen. His knees buckled, yet his grip on the sword did not falter. "I will not let him have you," he rasped. Malric's grin widened, cruelty etched into every line. "Look at your protector, bleeding for nothing." Kaelen forced himself upright, fury igniting his storm-gray eyes. "Better to bleed for love than to rot in your lies." His words shook the hall as much as the storm. Seraphine rushed forward, staff glowing blue, her voice trembling with urgency. "The mirror does not hold him, it holds her soul." Elara's eyes widened as the shards pulsed violently in response. "What do you mean?" she cried. Seraphine's face was pale, shadowed with grief. "When your ancestor bound the mirror, your bloodline became its anchor." Kaelen's lips parted in shock, his pain forgotten. Malric laughed, triumphant. "So you see, she cannot escape me." Elara shook her head, tears streaking her cheeks. "No, I am more than destiny's chain." The shards glowed brighter, the storm answering her defiance with thunder. From the shadows, Darius stepped forward, golden hair glinting faintly in the storm's light. His face was torn with sorrow, but his voice rang clear. "Then, let me undo what I began." Elara's breath caught, heart clashing between fear and hope. Malric snarled, "You are nothing but my broken pawn." Darius' eyes burned with regret. "Not anymore." He lifted his hand, light sparking faintly from his palm. Elara whispered, "Darius." His gaze softened as he said, "I cannot be forgiven, but I can stand against him." Kaelen's grip tightened on his sword, wary yet desperate. The hall trembled as destiny shifted once more. The hall quaked as shards spun violently, forming a spiral of light and shadow. Elara's voice broke as she screamed, "I choose my own fate." The chains shattered, releasing a burst of silver energy that knocked Malric back. Kaelen rushed to her side, steadying her trembling form. Darius staggered, his golden light clashing against Malric's crimson storm. "And this now," he cried, his voice torn between agony and redemption. Seraphine raised her staff, amplifying the surge of power. Elara pressed her bloodied hand against the largest shard, the storm roaring in answer. Her heart pounded with one truth: destiny would bend, or she would break it. The storm raged as Elara stood before Malric, silver light surging through her veins. His crimson energy coiled like fire, clashing with her glow. "You cannot win," he snarled, eyes blazing. Elara raised her bloodied hand, voice steady despite trembling lips. "You will not decide my fate." Kaelen stepped to her side, battered but unyielding, his storm-gray eyes fierce. "We end this together." Malric laughed, the sound cruel and hollow. "Together you fall." Darius roared, golden light spilling from his broken frame. "Then, let us fall fighting." The whole shook as their powers collided, a storm of destiny unleashed in violent brilliance. Kaelen turned to Elara, his voice raw and urgent above the roar of magic. "I have always loved you." Her breath caught, tears mingling with rain on her cheeks. She whispered, "Then stand with me, no matter the cost." Their hands met, silver sparks leaping from their touch. Malric snarled, his power faltering as cracks split the ground beneath them. "Love is weakness." Elara's voice rang clear, fierce and unbroken. "Love is the only strength left to me." The silver glow around them surged brighter, drowning out Malric's crimson storm, as if the mirror itself trembled in recognition of her choice. The mirror erupted, shards floating in a spiral around them. Elara pressed her palm against the largest piece, her voice breaking. "No more chains." The glass cracked, violet light bleeding out like fire. Darius stepped forward, his golden glow faltering as blood streaked his lips. "End it, and free us all." Elara's tears blurred her vision as she whispered, "I'm sorry." His pained smile carried both sorrow and peace. Kaelen tightened his grip on her shoulder, grounding her. With a cry, Elara shattered the shard, the explosion rocking the hall as Malric screamed, his form twisting into the storm and vanishing into nothing. The hall lay in ruins, silence replacing the storm. Darius knelt, his glow fading like embers in rain. Elara dropped beside him, clutching his hand. "Don't leave me," she whispered. His blue eyes softened, a final tear tracing his cheek. "You freed me. That is enough." Kaelen bowed his head, grief heavy in his chest. Darius exhaled one last breath, his body dissolving into golden light that drifted upward like stars. Elara's tears fell freely, pain sharp yet strangely peaceful. Seraphine lowered her staff, voice breaking. "The curse is broken, but the cost remains." The fractured shards lay silent, their power gone. The storm cleared, moonlight streaming through the shattered roof. Elara stood with Kaelen, her face streaked with tears, her bloodied hand entwined with his. He whispered, voice raw with love, "You chose us." She leaned closer, whispering back, "I chose myself, and you were there." Their lips met in a kiss beneath fractured starlight, tender yet heavy with all they had lost. The ruins glowed faintly, the broken mirror silent at last. Joran stepped forward quietly, his expression softened, whispering, "Then maybe we still have tomorrow." Elara's heart ached, but held hope. The night closed with love surviving in the shadow of sacrifice.